Go ahead and go to the third slide. And you can begin your presentation.
And colleagues at
Sorry, Lori, you weren't on, you were muted.
Am I on now?
Yeah, you're on now.
All right.
Right ahead.
All right, thanks. I want to thank Jackie and our other friends and colleagues at the Department of Procurement Services for this opportunity to talk to you about MOPD. This doesn't always happen where one department offers workshops on what someone else does. So, this is a great opportunity that we're given, and it allows us to, reach out to other people that we may not, typically be able to speak to and talk about our programs. So I wanted to just start out with the things we'll cover today are MOPD's mission, the constituency we serve. I'll give you a description of our programs and services, and then my contact information. If I can take questions today, or if something occurs to you later, you can always contact me at another time. So our mission is to promote total access, full participation, and equal opportunity for people with all types of disabilities. Our approach is the systemic change for people with disabilities, and that includes the delivery of direct independent living services, public education awareness about disability issues, public policy, which is the area I emphasize in my job, and initiatives that with the goal of making Chicago the most accessible and inclusive city in the nation. And all of those things are what I'll get into detail more later. And additionally, we also provide disability-related expertise to city departments, sister agencies, and the private sector companies and nonprofit organizations. So we really do try to reach out and be an assistance, be of assistance to really everyone in the city. I think it's well known and understood, or at least it should be, that accessibility really touches every part of city life, and there's a lot of things that have happened through our disability awareness and accessibility that have been known to benefit others as well. You can see anytime someone is pushing a stroller over a curb cut or a ramp, that it makes it really clear that things that are made in an accessible way really do benefit everyone. So that's kind of what we do. There's about 600,000 individuals with disabilities who live or work or visit Chicago, and we do try to address each of their needs. Some people, one of the first questions that we're often asked is, just what is disability? And I suppose it can be defined in different ways, but in terms of our programs and services, we do rely on the definition in the Americans with Disabilities Act, and that is a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities, a record of such impairment, or being regarded as having such an impairment. So when I'll talk about our BEPD program a little later, and it's the ADA definition of disability that we use as eligibility for that program and any number of our other services. So I'll go into a little bit about each of our programs and services that you see on the screen before you. We have, and also you might want to know that we have two offices. One is in City Hall, and the other one is on the near west side of Chicago at 2102 West Ogden. And we do provide most of our direct services at that location. One such service is our information and referral program. And what we do through that is provide assistance with identifying and accessing community resources that will help increase independence, such as transportation, in-home assistance, and services specific to an individual's disability. So we really get a lot of calls from people just asking about, they may not, probably most services out there aren't necessarily provided directly from MOPD, but from other organizations. So one of the things that we do is provide that kind of resources for people, and how to get signed up for paratransit, how to get, signed up for various different things. Our accessibility compliance unit is a very active part of our office, and our staff does pre-plan reviews for accessibility based on the Chicago Building Code and Illinois and federal accessibility standards. So what that means is before anything gets built in Chicago, it needs to go through our staff to make sure that, and we sit down with the architects and the developers or whomever, and go through their architectural plans to make sure that whatever they're building meets the accessibility codes, as they're applied. So we do that, and we also provide, more of a unique service in that we provide pre-plan reviews. And what that means is, before someone goes through the whole permitting process, which is done at the Department of Buildings, they can come to us, show us, their plans, and we can catch any issues that regarding accessibility, and so they can get corrected, up front. If it's the width of a doorway or anything, or a countertop or anything like that, some of those things then can be corrected so that the process that they go through with the Department of Buildings, which which contains all the other types of reviews, whether it's plumbing, electrical, all the different types of codes. By doing a pre-permit plan review with us, it often makes that whole additional process easier, and really solves a lot of problems up front regarding accessibility. We also do technical assistance, and we provide information about federal, state, and local accessibility codes and laws. So we do take calls, like I said before, from other departments or members of the public or the disability community in terms of what those laws are and who and how people need to comply with them. Our youth programs, we provide various employment readiness programs for students with disabilities, which include youth mentoring. We do some job shadowing, internships, and referrals for transition services. Unfortunately, because of COVID, this was one of the programs that was most affected by the pandemic, but we were able to do a lot by having students work online and do, expose them to different things, virtually of different areas of the disability community, and also about jobs, trying to talk to them early on about what their interests may be and what their barriers may be to seeking employment and other experiences out of school. So we were able to do that virtually this year, but I think like everyone, we hope that in the near future we can have that more personal contact again. Disability resources those are our homemaker services, home delivered meals, needs assessments we do, and we provide simple in-home adaptive devices for individuals with disabilities. Again, our target audience, if you want to call it that, is people under 60 years old. So these, there might be similar services like this for seniors, and those are provided by the Department of Family and Support Services. We have training programs. We have disability awareness presentations. At those trainings, we teach appropriate interactions, what acceptable terminology is, and various types of accommodations that by law need to be provided to people with disabilities. Employment programs. We have a number of programs that deal with employment. We have what we call our WIPA program, but what it does is it provides benefit counseling to SSI and SSDI recipients who are either working or just about to become employed. This has been an important program because so many people with disabilities feel like they can't get a job because it will risk their benefits. So, many feel caught in the middle of, I want to work, I want, gainful employment, but doing that can, the perception is will risk the benefits they receive. So this program works with individuals, let them know what the laws are and how they can seek employment without risking their benefits. And we also offer job readiness and career exploration for transition age youth. We have an Empowered Cities initiative, which also addresses employment and economic opportunities. One thing that I was going to mention later, but I think this is an appropriate place, is one of the things we do is we will develop or have different task forces to address particular issues. So we've had one on literacy, because the percentage of people in the disability community who are literate, I think there's like a 40% gap between those with disabilities and those without disabilities. So we had a task force on how to address those literacy gaps. But we also had a very, very important task force on employment and economic opportunities for people with disabilities. And we're lucky to be able to bring on a consultant to work with us to really help us realize all the goals that we came up with through that task force. So employment is still one of the most difficult parts, or pieces of what the ADA kind of, it's very kind of goal oriented in terms of, the things we would like to see happen and how the lives of people with disabilities can change. But employment has still been kind of a tough thing to address, and particularly difficult now since employment is difficult for everyone during COVID. There's been a lot of people who've lost jobs, and that could be it's at least equally, if not more, difficult for people with disabilities. So employment has become a a real important emphasis for one of the things we do. And we got HOMOD. A HOMOD program is also something that is very much in need. What we do is we provide $10,000 grants to make home modifications in people's homes. So that can be providing a lift for people to get in and out of their apartments. As many of you know, the architecture in Chicago is very old, and accessible housing is very limited. So these grants can make all the difference in the world for someone to make them, and then everything becomes connected. If they have good access in and out of their homes, they're more likely to find employment and and enjoy other parts of their lives. So that's it's an important thing that we do. So that it can include ramps, lifts, roll-in showers, accessible kitchens, things like that. And that part of our office also links people with disabilities to affordable and accessible housing, and provides information on housing programs and resources. Public policy is my area of work here. I am responsible for the any disability related legislation or policy that the city does. So a lot of any kind of law or legislation that gets introduced will come to me to be able to, and then what I'll do is I'll make a recommendation to the mayor's office as to whether or not an ordinance, for example, should be supported, should it be amended? Is there an ordinance that would be harmful to people with disabilities? So it'll be my job to kind of do that analysis and make a recommendation. I also work on a lot of transportation and pedestrian safety issues and emergency preparedness issues. I work very closely with the city's Office of Emergency Management and Communication to make sure that everything that the city does, whether it's preparing or responding to an emergency, making sure that is inclusive and responsive to people with disabilities. And transportation, we've worked on, the accessible taxis, accessible TNP vehicles. And now one of my, I think more interesting projects has been to work on with the other departments on the scooter pilot program. And so you may ask, what do scooters have to do with people with disabilities? Well, they can cause havoc on sidewalks and in streets for people who use wheelchairs, people who may be blind or have low vision. Like one of the things that we did in this year's program was to require that scooters have to be locked to something. Some of you may recall in the first part of the pilot last year, scooters could just be left anywhere. And that was going to be, part of their charm is that, people can drop them off and pick them up anywhere. Well, that really caused a lot of problems for people who are blind or low vision. So this year, we are requiring lock-to technology on the scooters, and it's already made a big difference. And we've gotten fewer complaints, so that has been one issue. This year, we also required contact information to be in Braille on each scooter. So last year when there was a problem, someone may nearly trip on a scooter or something, and the whole idea is to call the vendor and complain. it was left out in the street. Well, people who are blind, they aren't going to be able to say, yeah, it's scooter from such and such company, and know what phone number to call, and what the ID is on the scooter. So all of those things are now provided in Braille on each scooter. So those are the kinds of things that, that I'll have input on in a program like that. And additionally, I'm forgetting my train of thought, but well, I can come back to that later. So those are the kind of transportation issues I'll deal with. And I've so the task force work we do, that's something I'll be responsible for as well. As it relates more directly with the Department of Program or Department of Procurement Services is our BEPD program. That's business enterprises owned by people with disabilities. And what this does is it's a certification program similar to the minority and women-owned businesses, in that the business needs to be either owned and operated by a person with a disability, and it provides the ability for companies to do business with different with the city, and do contracting or subcontracting with other city vendors. One way in which this is different is we also include nonprofit organizations to qualify to get certified as a BEPD. We also, a couple of years ago, expanded it to service disabled veterans, so that they too can participate in the program. And we also have increased the incentives for contracting with BEPDs. So over the years, we've worked very closely with procurement services. They really manage, the whole program, with the exception of the Schedule G that's required of people to apply to be a BEPD. The Schedule G is a physician's affidavit that really declares what one's disability is and whether or not they qualify to be a BEPD. So that's something that we've worked very closely with procurement services with, and and we have some other work coming up with them, in the next year, in terms of enhancing programs for entrepreneurs, and how we can best provide services and guidance to small businesses that are owned and operated by people with disabilities. So that is kind of this is what I've already talked about. And this is my contact information. I know I ran through things pretty quickly, but I'm happy to answer any questions you either have now, or feel free to jot down this information and give me a call at your convenience, so I can answer any of your questions, or I can share with you, other services and initiatives that MOPD promotes. So that's it for me. I just wanted to thank you for participating in this workshop, and attending, and wanting to learn more about MOPD. And I'm very happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, we will open the session up for questions. So again, The three dots at the bottom of your screen, if you click on that, you should have something that says Q&A. If it isn't over on the right-hand side already, if it is in the menu, click on it and you can type in your question, send your question, and we will ask Lori your information. Let me say that while some people may be rushing and sending in a question, let me just say thank you so much, Lori, for coming and imparting that information to us today. We greatly appreciate, like Lori said, when other departments in the city can come over and kind of give us a overview on some of the things that they're working on, some of the things that they do, and how they can help you, but how we can get the word out to all of you. So I thank you, Lori, for that.
Thank you.
For those of you that participated today, because I still don't see any questions, so everybody must be good with the information. For those of you that participated today in today's workshop, thank you so much for giving us a piece of your time to come and hear what we have to say so that you are better informed. And if we can help you in any type of way, there is an evaluation after this, where you can put down comments of any sort that you may want, that you can give us ideas on things that you may want to know about. We can most definitely incorporate that. I am the one that coordinates most of this, and so I always look for that, to kind of get fresh things new every year. So if you would do that, I greatly appreciate it. And I will say to you, because I haven't seen any questions in the Q&A, so I'm just going to say, take care, be safe, be well, wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands, go out and vote November 3rd, and hopefully, real soon, we will see you back at City Hall in the coming time, I will say, because we don't know when we'll be going back just yet, but when we do, you will be the first to know. So thank you for attending. Have a great rest of your day. Be safe and be well. Thank you.